This room of academics, experts, and frontline workers are here to share research and ideas on how to keep Indigenous and African Canadian families together. Both communities share similarities in the rates of overrepresentation of their children in the child welfare system.
So we have different entry points into the system, but ultimately in the system they're addressing and responding to the same things. People not like us. Let's take the kids and figure out ways to make their kids like us so that when they become adults, they'll be like us too. But that's been resisted by both of these communities for a very long time for lots of really good reasons.
Keynote speaker Cindy Blackstock says the overrepresentation of Indigenous kids in care boils down to inequity. Earlier this year, the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal ruled the federal government is discriminating against First Nation children through inadequate funding. With the federal budget only committing $71 million to child welfare, it falls far short of the $216 million Blackstock says is needed to address the inequity.
It's just going to be putting out fires until we deal with the cause, which is the federal government's use of racial discrimination as fiscal policy. That cause is creating many of these hardships.
People here agree that with adequate resources, communities could then come up with child welfare reform on their own.
It cannot come from government, and it cannot come from the mainstream systems. They have too much invested in keeping the system the way that it currently is, and the answer has to come from our communities, and it has to be rooted in our culture.
People here believe by bringing together experts and frontline workers from both the Indigenous and Black communities is the first step in building a strong relationship, particularly in the area of child welfare. Delaney Windigo, APTN National News, Toronto.